Well, folks, good morning. Pastor Rocky Branch, Spruce Pine First Baptist Church. Today is day 195. No, 196. We're climbing the ladder here, getting closer to 200. And as we're doing that, as we're thinking about various things, we have now the Baptist on Mission have closed down for a few days. So we're going to do the same, quite obviously, because that's who we're serving, feeding. And it's even feeding some public too, but they're just coming to various reasons, I suppose. But we're more the workers. So they have gone home. Well, in a little while I'll go see them off this morning. But we're going to be off for a few days, and then they'll be back on Easter Monday, and we'll do it again. Have you ever been in a situation where that you really had some good things going on, and then you got disenchanted with what's going on, so you thought you would reach for, higher bushes and sweeter berries, as the old timers used to say, or you thought the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. A lot of those old cliches that have been said for years. Luke 15 tells the story of the prodigal son. The younger brother asked his father for his inheritance, which to him would mean a number of things. Number one, to me, I don't get my inheritance until you die, so to me, you're dead. I want my money. I always found that fascinating. I really do. I mean, and I'm not being facetious or anything like that or cute or whatever. I'm just being very truthful. It always blew me away that parents felt like that they had to give their kids money after they raised them and educated them and they're out making their own living. I understand the giving part as far as giving something for someone, but not the obligation part. Once you've raised, once you have clothed, once you have educated, you've really done your responsibility. Now, if you want to do that, that's fine, but a lot of people, they feel very obligated to do that, and I don't think that's a biblical principle, but nonetheless, that's my opinion, and it's probably not worth a lot to anyone else, but it's just the way it is. Well, this young boy, he had to consider his father dead to get the inheritance, because that's when he got it. The other thing is the young boy is asking his father to finance his bad behavior. I hate home. I hate the rules. I hate the whatever it is that I don't like. You're part of it, and I don't like you because I don't like it. I'm walking away from everybody. You just got to really put that in perspective, because we always talk about the prodigal son leaving and going to the hog pen, or going to the world first, then going to the hog pen, then coming back, and then all that stuff. And all that's important, obviously. I mean, it's a major part of the story. But I think some of those times we overlook the things that we should be looking at. And to me, we should look at the beginning of the story on how this transpired and what took place. I wrote a Christmas play entitled The Prodigal Son Comes Home, and we've done it a few times. It's a very interesting play, to say the least, because in the play, I give you the biblical account of it. There's a bar scene in the play with a bartender and some women dressed up like barflies. We call them barflies like Miss Kitty's saloon, and men there with them. And then here comes the kid in that leaves home with a pocket full of money. So we tell the whole story, but before all that happens, here's a young man that says, I want my father and my family out of my life. I want them gone. To me, they're nothing. I'm taking what is mine, which wasn't his. It was a gift, or, certainly it wasn't his. He didn't work for it. He was the father's son. The father gave it to him. I'm taking what I can get from my inheritance. I'm gone. I don't care about anybody but me. That is a world in which we're living in primarily. That's where the mindset of most people really remains. All I care about is me. What are you going to do for me? What have you done for me lately? one of our ladies, a lady from Korea, not while I was in Korea, but I've met in the States. She said to me recently, I am very selfish. I thought, well, that's an interesting concept. I'm very selfish. And she was asking for everything. And I'm thinking, wow, okay. Then she said, I was raised so poor that I'm very selfish. And I thought, wow, what a terrible testimony that is. That's a bad testimony. Because the fact that you have been raised poor, I was raised poor, that should make you more thankful instead of more greedy. I have a cousin that said to me one time, well, you know, our family, we're known to be stubborn. I said, well, brother, that's not anything to brag about. You know, our relationship, spiritually speaking, is to understand the Father and yield to the Father and try to accomplish the Father's will for our life. In the prodigal son story, he says to the Father, I'm through with you. Give me what I can get. I'm gone. Which doesn't seem to be a positive situation at all. Now, he does go out. He does get into stuff. He ends up in a hog pen. He does end up coming back, and it's a great story, but there's no conclusion to it because there's no end to that story. The older brother, the story ends with the older brother sitting outside and the dad talking to him and then going in the house, and there's the boy, the older brother, sitting out there. There's no end to that story. So the challenge that we run into is, how thankful are you, and do you consider your relationship with God to be alive or dead? Well, it depends. It depends on what you want from him. Is all you want is what you want? The Bible teaches it's more blessed to give than to receive. It's an enormous thing to practice Christianity. God so loved the world that he gave. Everything that God made gives. He made man. Man's the only one that has a choice. Everything else, there's no choice. The sun gives, the stars give, the wind gives, the ground gives, the rain gives, the animals give. And there's no choice. Except for humans. We have a choice. So just think with me, Easter's coming up and all that, but just think about this. Think about this story of the prodigal son, not the not the middle and not the end, or not the almost end at the hog pen and then not back at the house, and the encounter with the older brother. Just think about why he left, what his mindset was in leaving. His mindset had to be, Dad, I need you to finance my bad behavior. And by the way, I consider you to be a dead man. Wow. That's really a serious thing to think about. Let us be genuine in our living and in our giving, and let us honor God with all things. If you do that, I do believe God will bless you for it. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.